Am I the asshole for what I, 24-year-old male, said to my sister, 27, about minding her business? Throw away because this is very personal and embarrassing. For my sister. This happened a while ago and I'm still getting shit for it, so I think I know your answer, but maybe some explanation will help. So around 6 months ago, my fiancé, we were together for around 7 years, but were friends before that, left me, because she realized she never loved me and that I was holding her back. She was not interested in therapy, and I am not in the habit of begging someone to stay, so I helped her pack and dropped her off at a hotel, which is what she wanted and where she asked to be left. About a month ago, she called me crying in the middle of the night to say that she had made a mistake and wanted to come home. I had promptly hung up on her, because I also firmly believe in the rule don't let them tell you they don't want you more than once. Apparently my family didn't get the memo because for a while after that my family, particularly the older women, had been pressuring me to hear her out and even going so far as to tell me her side of the story, and how she had a breakdown and it didn't have anything to do with me. Blah blah blah, don't buy it. My sister recently called me out of the blue and started talking to me about how I don't want to be the reason for anything bad, so I should call and talk to my ex. I tried to brush it off, but she kept saying things like, well, you don't want it to be your fault is all I'm saying, and shit like that. I didn't like what she was implying, so I admit I snapped and said something not so nice. Something kinda like, maybe you should worry about your own relationship. I mean, God knows it takes all of your mental fortitude to keep your pants on. Which is bad because her first 2 marriages ended due to cheating on her end. After a moment, she started crying on the phone and kept saying, I can't believe you would say that and that's so cruel, you don't know what I went through. I replied something like, and that's why I usually stay out of it, you know, try to mind my business. Apparently that isn't even close to the same thing, and since then I've been getting yelled at by all the women in the family, but at least the ex-talk has quit. Community response number 1. Not the asshole. You are not responsible for anything bad happening. She got exactly what she asked of you. To tell someone you've been living life with for 7 years you never loved them and they were holding you back is pretty powerful. I'm sorry, wouldn't fix that particular broken trust for me. I would not be surprised if she already had a backup plan. That plan being another person, and it didn't work out. Now she realizes she took her life for granted and ended a good thing. If this was your sister's first attempt at sticking her toe into the situation, I can see why she's so taken aback. But it sounds like all the women in your family are acting as a team, so she knew what she was getting herself into. Community response number 2. You're not the a-hole. If people want to pry and poke at your life like they have a right, then you have the right to make comments about theirs back. Trying to guilt trip you because your ex has claimed she may harm herself, that's not your fault. She left you and you quite reasonably don't want her back. Also, your sister should know there's no excuse for cheating. If she gets bored so quick, then maybe relationships aren't her thing. It's better to live free and hurt nobody than cheat and mess up lives. Community response number 3. You sound mature for your years. I agree that when someone decides to walk out because they are being held back, then the trust and love is gone. You are not obligated to talk to her, and good on you for shutting that down. Someone saying they will do something bad is usually a scare tactic, and the proper response is your family, friends, or whoever will miss you, and don't feed into it. As for your sister, I honestly don't see anything wrong with what you said, a little funny and apparently accurate. She was sticking her nose in where it didn't belong. You told her to stay out of it. She pushed. You pushed back. This is rather a case of play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Story 2. Am I the asshole for telling my friend to stop flaunting her money and calling her a gold digger? I, 39-year-old female, have been BFFs with Jill, a 40-year-old female, since we were in high school. Between the two of us, she's always been a bombshell. Blonde, tall, slim, big boobs, etc. She never dated anyone in high school, which was weird to me because almost everyone in our school did, including myself. When we were in college and she was still turning guys down, I asked her why, and she said she wants someone who is financially stable. I laughed it off at the time. I should also mention she grew up poor, as in her mother was going to the food bank poor. After we graduated, she got a job at a gym teaching yoga while I continued my education to be a teacher. She eventually met someone at the gym and he's rich, like I can't even comprehend the kind of money this guy has. Fast forward to now, they're married, with 2 kids, and I believe she signed a prenup when they married. We were out to dinner on the Saturday that just passed with 2 other friends from college, and she wanted to go to a very expensive place. Her treat? She does this a lot. Flaunts her money, clothes, trips, etc. Although I always try to smile and ignore, it has been slowly bothering me. The dinner was going fine until one of our friends, Amanda, asked Jill what she was planned for her birthday. Jill said her and her husband are going to Greece for 3 weeks. Amanda and Sharon both made comments about how nice and lovely that is, and I kind of scoffed at it. When Jill asked me what was wrong, I admittedly lost it. I told her I'm tired of her flaunting her money at everyone all the time, and everyone knows she only married her husband for money. It got really quiet for a couple of seconds, and to my surprise Jill very calmly asked if that's what everyone really thought. I said yes. Jill then asked if it was at all possible that she initially dated him for his money but fell in love with him along the way. Both our other friends said of course at the same time. I said no. I told her she fell in love with what he can provide for her. She then asked me if I love what my boyfriend provides for me, which I was different because I never started dating him for those things. She countered that with of course you did, if you were just attracted to him but he wasn't loving, providing, caring. You wouldn't still be in a relationship with him, and if you were it would be an unhappy and unhealthy one. I argued it's still not the same thing. She then stood up and said she has other places to be and not to worry about the bill. She left and the 3 of us finished our meal in silence. When the server came around, he handed me the bill for my meal only. She paid for herself and the other 2 but left me to pay for an almost $50 meal that I really couldn't afford. I texted her and called her an asshole. She replied saying not to message her again until I apologized for my earlier comments. I admit I might have been too hard, but I don't think I'm wrong. So, am I the asshole? Community response number 1. You are the asshole. So when Jill treats you and other friends for a lovely dinner, her treat, she's a gold digger flaunting her money, but when she leaves you with your portion of the bill to pay, you can't afford it and she's an asshole for not paying your bill. You can't have it both ways. Pick a lane and stick to it. Community response number 2. Original poster tried so hard in the post to sound high and mighty. I dated in high school. I went on to continue my education. I scoffed and told her to stop flaunting. But, even in original poster's own telling, Jill comes off as a much lovelier person, both inside and out. Sure, she has the bombshell looks. But also, if the conversation really went as original poster claims it did, Jill was very gracious and tried to get her friend to see how she was wrong and what she'd said was hurtful. Instead, original poster just doubled down and kept insulting her, and then had the absolute nerve to be mad Jill didn't pay for her lunch. Original poster, try taking a lesson on class from Jill. You could use it. Community response number 3. This post reeks with jealousy. Maybe stuff is missing, but I don't see Jill flaunting money. She has the means, so she wants to treat her friends. If Jill didn't treat, I wonder if Opus would be complaining that her rich friend is being stingy with her money. And she only mentioned Greece because someone asked. What was Jill supposed to do? Lie and say she is not doing anything. For the judgment, you are the asshole. Story 3. Am I the asshole for reminding my grandpa he lives under my mom's roof and not the other way around? My mom, 37 years old, and I, 16-year-old male, have always had a pretty healthy relationship. My parents had me fairly young, so I guess that helped them remember how being a teen feels like, and for all my life they have always been very open to talk to me about everything. Because of that, I never felt the need to lie to them. Even when I fucked up, I knew I could count on them to help me sort my shit out, although that help would occasionally come with some deserved yelling and grounding. But the dynamic at my house started to change a bit ever since my dad passed away in March. My maternal grandpa, whom has been retired, moved in with us. My mom used to send him money because his retirement was not enough, but since our home became a single-income household, she figured it would be more financially sound if he came to our house instead of her trying to feed 2 homes with a single salary. My grandpa, 72, is nothing like my parents. He is very controlling, he likes to know my every move, and he insists on making decisions based on how he feels like. He babies me and berates me for doing stuff that every teenager does, like being sexually active with my boyfriend, for example. My mom and I have both tried talking to him about respecting my boundaries and understanding that in our home we trust and respect each other, but he refuses to listen and says that my mom doesn't know anything about parenting, while remaining to give unsolicited opinions about my life. Things got really bad yesterday when I told them I was going to sleep over at my boyfriend's that night. My mom just said, "Okay, let me know when you get there." Not that she doesn't care about me, but it's just that she knows my boyfriend since we were in middle school. She knows his parents, she knows where the house is, and most importantly, she trusts me. But my grandpa decided to throw a tantrum and berate me for disrespecting familiar values and acting like a man slut. He said that while my junkie dad might have allowed me to be a boy prostitute who lets other men emasculate me, this behavior would not be tolerated under his roof. I lost my temper and asked sarcastically, "What roof? You don't have one." Then I told him it was bold of him to talk about things that are emasculating because I couldn't think of anything more emasculating than being a grumpy old man who has to live off his only daughter and who tries to undermine her authority just to feel like he is in charge, even though he knows deep down that none of us actually care about what he has to say. Ever since that confrontation, he has stopped talking to me. I ended up not going to my boyfriend's because of something unrelated that happened at his house, and things just feel very tense around here. My mom says she understands where I come from but thinks I went too far and deeply hurt my grandpa's feelings. But I think it was about time he heard something like that. Am I the asshole? Community response number 1. Not the asshole. He was completely wrong for trying to parent you when you have a parent. It's not like you lied. And so, you're hurt his feelings. He apparently didn't give a shit about yours when he was yelling at you. Enjoy the silence from him. He doesn't accept you for who you are and you don't need that in your life. Community response number 2. Not the asshole. But talk to your mom, tell her that grandpa's homophobia, because yeah, that's what that is really getting to you. As well as his controlling behavior. That it's upsetting and stressing you out. Tell her that you know you shouldn't have yelled, but his behavior is really getting to you. His homophobic comments, his comments about your dad and how he talks about your mom, they hurt your feelings, and that isn't okay. You're the kid, he's a grown adult. Your mom is in a tough position balancing familial obligations and finances plus her own grief and being a single mom. I'm not really sure what she can do other than a big blowout fight with her dad, and I don't know enough to know whether that's a possibility or even a good idea. Community response number 3. You aren't wrong. He won't change his attitude or prejudices, so the best case for you is for him to know you aren't going to tolerate his ignorance. Story 4. Am I the asshole for calling my mistress' sister out on her hypocrisy? I, a 22-year-old female, have an older sister, 27. We used to be close but not anymore throughout these past few years. I got out of a long-term relationship and have started dating for the first time in a while. I've been seeing this guy for months and he invited me to his mother's destination wedding to Mexico at the end of August and I agreed. I told my sister about it when she asked me to babysit her kids during the time I would be away. And a few days later she comes over and says she doesn't think I should see the guy anymore. I asked why and she said she searched him up and sees he has a kid with his ex-girlfriend and that being away for 2 weeks for the wedding makes him a bad father and I shouldn't be with a deadbeat. I was shocked and told her that he has a good co-parenting relationship and sees his son regularly, and it doesn't him a bad dad to leave town for a wedding. Plus he's not even my boyfriend yet. She went on to say that she can't believe I would date a deadbeat after seeing what she's gone through with her twin's dad. She hates her life and struggles and that I'm disgusting and a side chick and he's probably still messing around with his ex because all baby dad is still sleep with the mothers of their children and I'm pathetic. I asked her, then where is yours? And that's when all hell broke loose. When my sister was my age she used to date married men all the time, specifically because they were married. She loved being a mistress for some reason. I was young at the time but still understood how what she was doing was wrong and she would always say I was a little girl, and would understand when I was older. She would tell me about how her boyfriends would choose her over their wives and kids, and she especially loved when they would become deadbeats after dating her. She said it gave her a sense of power knowing a man would do anything to be with her. She eventually changed once life humbled her and a married guy she was seeing got her pregnant, promising to divorce his wife, and instead ended up moving states with his family. She became a single mom of twins and didn't take care of her postpartum body and gained 80 pounds on top of her other weight gain, and is now focusing on her kids and doesn't date like she used to. She pretends she's changed as a person, but really it's because she has no other choice. I told her all that above and she started crying, saying I'm disgusting and went too far because I know she's right, and she stormed out. My mom called me screaming, saying I'm disgusting for insulting my sister and need to say sorry or I'm an asshole. She's trying to shame me for going on a 2-week-long vacation with a single father when she used to date married ones. They're saying my sister's past is her past and that she's not that person anymore. Community response number 1. Not the asshole. Your sister is bashing this guy cause she wants free childcare, thus no fucks were given when sabotaging your happiness. Good for you, holding your ground against her meritless accusations. Your sister talked freely about her hookups for years, so given this foundational knowledge it was okay to say, then where is yours? It's a logical question following her accusations about your choices. Unfortunately, her choosing unavailable men elevated her sense of worth, which no longer exists. This brewing psychological tempest is not your fault, it is of her making. Mom sounds reactionary and does not grasp you were insulted by your sister, yet she is not held accountable. Best to you, and if you travel with him, have a blast, safely. Community response number 2. I think the sister still wants the sense of controlling people. Even though she used to get off on thinking that married men would do anything to be with her, she knows that ship has sailed for her, and now she's trying to get her family to bail on any plans they have to serve her whims. She's hungry for power since her looks no longer serve her. Not the asshole. Community response number 3. Not the asshole. She tried to kill your excitement about the trip so you'd stay home and watch her kids. Then, she tried to kill your interest in the guy and your self-esteem so you'd stay home and watch her kids. She's playing victim now because you brushed that off like a boss. And maybe if your mom didn't defend terrible behavior, your sister wouldn't have ended up how she did. Enjoy your time away and make sure someone else feeds your fish. Your mom and sister will be really spiteful for a while. What do you think? Do you agree with these community responses so far? Leave your thoughts below in the comments. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes.